Hello everyone, my name is Katie and welcome to the Greenland Quilter channel. I hope everybody's been having a great Thursday and a wonderful week. I can't believe we're getting close to the end of the week already and hitting that first week of June running. Isn't that interesting? So anyway, I thought I would, tonight what we're going to do is we are going to sew on the Moda Blockheads 6 Block 2 called Crossroads. And Crossroads is by Lynn of Kansas Trouble Quilters. The Crossroad block combines half square triangles, quarter square triangles, and piece units to create a structured yet flowing design. The intersection shapes evoke the feeling of well-worn paths meeting at a crossroads, blending symmetry and movement. And the designer has a website. It's www.ktquilts.com. That's the designer of this Moda Blockheads block. So what I'm going to do is I have already cut the fabric. On the first sheet, you'll see there's measurements, and they'll show. Apparently, they're going to be doing 2 blocks each time they do this. So right now, I'm just going to do 1 because I haven't made a decision on if I want to do 2 of each one or not. And if I do, I can just catch up. Not a problem. Okay. So let me talk about this block a little bit. I've been hearing different kind of comments. Some people are saying that the measurements that are given do not make that they're having trouble getting the blocks to match where they can sew them together. I've been hearing that over the last several days in different people's lives because they get in a discussion about that. What I will say is this is, if it was a fat quarter chop pattern, it would be simpler, I think. But here, it just tells you what you should do. It doesn't, best I can tell, there's nowhere in the written part, the verbal part, the part that you read to articulate. Sorry. It doesn't say anything about trimming it down or anything like that. What it does tell you in the picture over here, though, if you're a visual learner and you ignore the written part, is it says that you have to have 4 half square triangles that are 3.5 inches squared. Then the units where it has 3 little rectangles in it, those need to measure 3.5 inches. This hourglass block, which is the center here, which uses quarter triangles, should also, after you've sewn all 4 of the triangles together, should give you 3.5 inches. Now, if you're off by like 1/8, meaning it's 1/8 bigger, you take your ruler, and I'll show you how to do that, and you square them off to the proper size. And the same thing with the smaller blocks, the same thing with the middle block. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get started on. If you've never made a half square triangle before, let me show you how I'm doing it the usual way. I did not use any half square triangle paper, which a lot of you know that I have a love for. But since we're only doing 4 half square triangles, I did not see the point in using paper. And yes, y'all are hearing me yawn. Sometimes I go through this and I have no control over it. It happens a couple times a day. And this just that happens to be happening right in the middle of my life. I'm sorry and I apologize for that, but I can't control what my body does sometimes. So anyway, what I'm doing here, you're going to want to sew 2. You're going to want to put your ruler so that that 1/4 inch seam allowance is right on top of corner to corner here. And then I use a lead pencil because I'm fine with that. And you're going to draw a line on the right side of that center line. You're going to turn your ruler around and come back over here. And again, line up that 1/4 inch line here, corner to corner. Okay? And then draw you another line. Now you have 2 lines. You do not have to draw the center line. There's no point in it. Because when you get these 2 lines sewn, you're just going to take your ruler and go corner to corner to trim it or to cut it in half. So then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to line these face down. So face to face, So with batiks, you can't really tell what side's the right side. So, but if it was cotton, you would put the right side up on the bottom and the right side down on the top so that they're facing each other. And then you're going to line them up. And then what I like to do to make sure nothing moves is I'm going to put a couple pins on each side of it. Just gently put them in there. You do not have to pin, you do you. If you like clips instead, use clips. Just do whatever makes you most comfortable. The idea is that if you're going to use something to fasten it, it's just because you're trying to make sure it stays, that you have it stabilized so that when you run it through the machine, it won't be moving around and making a crooked line or, you know, or being offset and you end up with a wonky half square triangle. So I just use about 4 pins is usually all I use. And I put them down here far enough away from the seam line that I know I'm not going to get in a fight with it. And then because I'm going to be sewing vertical lines here, I'm going to change my sewing machine foot to, I have a this small acrylic ruler or presser foot. I'm going to put that on after I remove my 1/4 inch sewing foot. So this is what my 1/4 inch sewing foot looks like. I'll take that off and I'm going to put this other one on. And then I move my needle on my sewing machine to the center, and then I'm going to move my stitch down to about 1.8. And then I'm also going to use a leader. So what I want to do now is I'm going to sew down this line here first. Then I'm going to take it out of the machine, turn it around, and sew on this side. And we're going to be making 4 of these. I have already sewn all of them, but I'll show you. I have one that I haven't finished messing with, and I'll show you what you do after this step. So let's go ahead and sew both sides. And then we're going to do the other side also. Okay. So now I have sewn both sides, and I'll turn this over. You can see, and yeah, you see that little crooked line there? It's okay. This is just me showing you an example. I can go back and fix that later. I was just showing you how to do the seam. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go press it so that it sets the seam. Then you're going to come over here and line your ruler up. The outer edge here, you're going to line it corner to corner. Okay, wait, let me turn it over so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to do it corner to corner here. Then we're going to take our rotary cutter and we're going to cut it right down the middle. Now we have 2 half square triangles. Okay, so let me set these aside. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pick up this half square I already have set here. The next thing you want to do is you're going to take your ruler. If you have a block or a quilt in a day ruler, you can use that to trim make sure that your half square triangle is going to be 1/4 inch. I'm sorry, 3.5 inches. And how you do that is you line these rulers up on your seam line before you open up your half square triangle. You line the 3.5 inch here along your 1/4 inch seam line, then you trim. If you don't have that kind of ruler, and I'm going to take one of these examples here to show you what to do. I'm also going to show you how to check your half square triangle just using a regular ruler, okay? But if you have the specialty ruler, main thing you got to do with this particular ruler is make sure that this line that you see on your ruler sits on top of your seam line. And I'm going to stand up because I want to be able to see this real good. And I've got it all lined up. Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to trim on one side. Then I'm going to trim on the other side. And I've trimmed both off. Okay. So now when I open this up, what I'll do is I'm going to finger press it. And then I'll take the ears off both sides. And then we'll take that. I have a little 3.5 inch ruler here. And we'll see if we'll see if I cut this accurately. Okay. Take scissors and cut your little ears off. Then I'm going to double check the measurement because once I go over to the iron, I'm going to press my seams. I think that's what I planned on doing. Hang on a minute. Yeah, I'm going to press my seams open. Now, you do not have to press your seams open. You do what makes you most comfortable. So when I line my diagonal line of my ruler up on my diagonal line of my half square triangle, as you can see, I do have an accurate 3.5 inch half square triangle. Okay, so let me say hello to everybody in the chat, and then we'll continue on with sewing. Hello, Scully Pop. Hello, Robin. Robin was in the channel first today. Let's see who else is in. Hey, Kristen, welcome, welcome. It's good to see you. I am enjoying your videos, farm videos, and your garden is beautiful. I'm jealous. I am so jealous. I cannot believe that your plants are so big already and already giving you food to eat. That is just wonderful. For those of you who have channels, make sure that you type the word !selfie so that you can share your channel so people can come over or go over and have a look at your channel. Okay, so while we're doing this, I'm going to go ahead and finger press this seam open first. I'll move these rulers out of the way so you don't get confused. And then I'm just going to take my little seam roller and then I'm going to take it over to the iron and put heat on it. And then I'll tell you what we'll do next. Okay, let me bring the design board back over here. Close that. Okay, so these are your half square triangles, and we had to make 4 of them. And so I'm going to go ahead and put them on the design board the way they're meant to be sewn. And let me move things around a little bit so you can see what we're doing. And I have part of this sewn and part of this not. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be sewing 4 of these units. 2 of these units here will be red and white, and 2 of these units is going to be this navy blue and white. So when you sew all 3 of these little rectangles together, you should have a 3.5 inch square. And you can take this little ruler like I showed you, and you can verify if you've sewn this correctly with your seam allowance. And I have, so it matches, okay? One of the things you need to pay attention to when you're doing this block is that you don't accidentally put one of these over here and one of these over here, because what we're doing is we're making a flow of these angles. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and sew this other one strip set here, mini strip here, and sew this mini strip, and then we're going to work on the hourglass in the middle. So let's go ahead and do this. I'll pick up 2 of these right now, and I'll go ahead and sew them. Hey, Andy, welcome, welcome. It's good to see you. Make sure if you have a channel to type the word !selfie to share your channel. Okay, then we're going to take, and I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. I'm going to do 2 sets at a time. That way I have a little bit of chain piecing going on. And really, you just have to be consistent with your seam allowance and your measurements. It does not have to be perfect. We're not striving for perfection here. We are striving to enjoy the process as well as consistency, because that's what will make a good block. All right. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this over a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. All right. I'll take them out, and I'm going to finger press these. Now, I'm not going to press these seams open, because the two seams that you're going to see in the middle of this block is not going to have to line up with anything in either direction. So I'm going to press these to the darker color. That way you don't have a shadow over here on the white. Now, you don't have, if you don't mind the shadow, which I don't, because most of the time I press my seams open, I'm just not doing it on here because it's really not needed. And then what I'm going to do, now that we've done both of these, I'm going to pick up the other side. And you got to make sure you don't put that white over here. You have to put your back, which is this is the whitest considered a background. Okay, so what you make sure you do is you put that background on both sides of that center color that you're using. And I'm going to go ahead and sew both of them. Chain sew. Same thing with this. Let's pick up the other white piece. Yep, right here. And we're going to put it on the red side. Yep. Nice and neatly. You just make sure they're lined up properly, and then put it through the machine. Okay. And then what we're going to do is the same thing again. Instead of pressing toward the white side, I'm going to press toward the darker color. That way these seams are facing toward the center, basically, is what you're going to end up with. And I'll show you what a back side of one of them looks like. And then after I've done that, I'll take it over to the iron and set the seam. Okay. One of these things is with these Moda Blockhead blocks, you just need to be consistent, follow the measurement information, and just relax and go with it. All right, so now I've got both these units sewn. So let's put this one on this side and the one on the other side. Now, so right now I have all of the outer perimeter quadrants done. So now what we got to do is we have to sew the red to the blue, which is half of a triangle, which will end up with half of a triangle. And I've already sewn this side. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the opposite. So you see how I had these half triangle or quarter triangles laid out? All you're going to do is turn it to the other side like this, and make sure you have your half triangles lined up properly. And then you're just going to run it through the machine and do a 1/4 inch seam, and you end up with a half triangle, half larger triangle. Are you? All right, let's get this one run through the machine. How's everybody doing today? What have you been working on today? Tell me what you've been working on today. Y'all, if you haven't done it yet, please hit that like button to help my channel out. I would appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, because all of these things help our channels grow. Okay, and there is an ear on here as well, so we're going to trim the ear off. Now on these two triangles here, I am definitely going to have a press these seams open because I want to line these up. So what I've done is I've already done this side. So let's go ahead and press the seam open, and then I'll put the hot iron on it. Hey, Patty, or no, that's sorry. Oh, it is. Hey, Patty G, welcome, welcome. Hello, Leanna. Welcome, welcome. And so I'm going to go ahead and put my seam roller on here. Then I'll take this over to the iron and press it. Okay, so now we have 2 half triangles. And what we need to do next is we're going to need to make sure that these 2 seams right here, when you turn them over like this, you want both these seams to be running parallel and right where they should be so that they line up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pin and I am going to put it through the seams here in between the seam. The needle's coming out here, and then I'm going to come on here on the front side of this one, put it right through between the 2 seams, and it should come out between the 2 seams here. So make sure when your pin comes out the back, it's not off to the left or off to the right. So I've got both of them where they should be. Then what I'll do is I'll line the corners up, make sure they're where they're supposed to be. Then I will pin it in a couple of places. Come over here and do the same thing on the other side first. I'm hoping to see a new view for tonight. Oh, I can't wait. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here to the center seam here because I want to make sure that my 2 seams, the seam on this side and the seam on the other side. So you got 2 seams, one here, one here. And you want them to be completely in line with each other. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pin through one side of it, of the seam. Then I'm going to turn it around, double check to see that I've got them lined up, which I do. And I'm going to put another pin in. And then I'm probably going to put another pin in the center of each side. Yeah, and you were like, wow, that's a lot of pins. I do pin a lot because I want it to at least be consistent and not have too much of a mess up here. Okay, now I have them pinned the way I want them. I'm going to take them to the machine, and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam down the side. Hey, Jay, welcome, welcome. If you have a channel, remember to type the word !selfie. And hit the enter button. Okay, I've sewn that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look to see if both my seams are in alignment. So we're going to open it up and take a look. And this is aligned. Now, let me make a comment about this. Someone will say, well, what if it doesn't line up? Do I have to rip the whole thing out? No, you don't. If your center seams are not aligned up properly, instead of ripping this whole thing out, taking the whole seam out, you can go 1 inch from the center on the left and 1 inch from a center on the right here, okay? And you rip out just that small amount, then you come back in there and you realign your 2 seams, then pin it, and then start your sew about 1/4 inch in from where you didn't rip out the seam, and do that, and sew the line until you go a little bit over 1/4 inch on the other side. And that's all you have to do. That way you're not having to redo the whole seam. Because sometimes when you mess with bias seams, you can make your triangle stretch, and you're trying not to do that when you're messing with it. So what I'm going to do here is press it open first. Then I'm going to go on the back and press the seam open. And this block is definitely bigger than 3.5 inches. Now the instructions say that this should be 3.5 inch. This is not 3.5 inch, but it told you in the directions on the front said for you to cut for, which is the center block here, it said that you were to cut one 5.5 inch square of one color and one 5.5 inch square of the other one. Then it tells you to cut it in half, which means you would have cut part of this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me lay this out where I can show you. I've already cut this, but let's for the sake of understanding what I'm talking about. So it does not look like 5.5 inches. I think I cut the wrong thing. Don't worry about it. As far as my example. Okay, so this should be 5.5 inches. Then you're going to cut a diagonal. The thing is when you have a 5.5 inch block, you're going to have to cut it again. If that makes sense. Oh, I know why these look smaller, because this is the other half of this. Yeah. So this would have been bigger. This is 2/2. This is actually, when it was cut on the diagonal, you ended up, yeah. I don't have an example, but what I'm saying is you cut two 5.5 inch, and then you're going to cut them on a diagonal twice. This only tells you to do it once, but then if you only do it once, then you're really going to have a big one. So I cut mine twice ahead of time, but I still have a good size block. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll take it over to the iron first and set the seam, and then we're going to trim this down to 3.5 inch. Now we have the easiest way to trim this down is we are going to use the diagonal line. What am I doing with my ruler? Oh, here it is. And because I already have a 3.5 inch ruler, I can take this, and there is a circle in the middle of this ruler right here. Right here's the center. You take that center, and also so you're going to take the center and also the diagonal line here, and you're going to match the diagonal line and this center circle right here. You're going to butt it right in the middle of this hourglass block, okay? And because this ruler is exactly 3.5 inches, you're just going to take this and cut all the way around the ruler. And I need to set the seam. Hang on a minute. I don't think I did. All right. And I'm going to trim on 2 sides to start with. And I'm just going to turn this all the way around and make sure that this ruler is still lined up properly. Trim again. And now we have a 3.5 inch hourglass block. Okay. Now then, what I'm going to do is show you where everything's going to go. Okay. All right. Let me bring this design board back where you can see what I'm doing. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure all of this is laid out properly. Have a good night, everyone. Time to go cook dinner. Enjoy your night, Leanna, sorry. So now what I want to do is I'm going to lay this all out on the design board where you can see how everything's going to line up. As you can see, everything looks like it's supposed to look. Okay, so now you're seeing the layout of the block. This is what the block is going to look like before I sew it. So what do y'all think about this so far? Let me know in the chat what you think about this so far before I start sewing the pieces together. Do you like it? And do you like the colors? Tell me what you think. Thank you, Cynthia, and hello, welcome to the channel. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with one side. I'll sew this to this to this one to this one, and then I'll have these four done. Then what I'll do is add this one to this after I've sewn it. Same thing here, and then you're going to have 3 rows to sew. And when we're doing the 3 rows, we're going to have to make sure that all these seams nest with each other, same as the other direction. Okay? I love the colors. Anytime patriotic colors are used, I'm all over it. Well, when I was doing this, I wasn't thinking about it being patriotic, but it does look patriotic. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to sew this on first. And you will be seeing me pin because I want to make sure these seams all sit nicely to each other. All right. Okay. And we'll take this one to this one. And as you can see, these seams are for this rectangle block. They're pressed to the center. Same thing here. We're going to do these two together next. Just take your time doing this block so that you can get everything lined up properly. That's the main thing. And like I said, we're not looking for perfection. We're just looking for consistency and also enjoying the process. That's what this is what matters. Okay, so now I've chain pieced, as you can see. Okay. And I will be pressing these seams on each row open as well. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm pressing the seams open here. I know there's a little bit of dead space here. Wish I had some music to play, but I don't. And I hope I'm not boring you guys. I really hope not. So I've got this one done. Okay, then the next one. Press seams open. Okay. Now we have this one. And also when you're doing this, make sure you got your half square, the darker parts of your half square triangles pointed in the right direction. Okay, so now what we're going to do next, we've sewn this to this, this to this, and this to this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sew this to this, same here on this one, same here on this one. So how's everybody's day been? What have y'all been doing today? Tell me how your day has been. How has your day been? And we're pinning this one together. Stormy again, says it, Andy. Today it's nice. Well, right now it looks like we've got clouds again. But it's been a good day today. No bad weather today. And it wasn't as cold. It's definitely warmer today than it was yesterday. Yesterday it was thick and cold. I don't know why it was so cold, but it was. And I'm making sure I have everything lined up here. All right, now let's do the next one. Is someone else got a live going on right now I don't know about? Everybody's very quiet today. Oh, Cynthia says, hello, all. I'm working on my paper crafting today, but saw you live and wanted to hang out until I have to get off for my class in an hour. What kind of class do you have in an hour? Hey, Lori Colgan, how are you? Okay, so we got one, putting this one on now. Okay. Now I'm going to cut them apart and put them back on the board the way I had them. And then we'll finger press and everything. And then I'm going to take them over to the iron and put heat to them. Okay, so let's get this one pressed open. and we're going to lay it down here the way it should be, which is like this. Okay, then the next one, same thing, press it open. And I will be putting the heat to these before I sew them together. I'm gonna put this one right here below it because this is row number 2. And then let's get this last one pressed open. Hey, Robin. By the way, everyone, Robin was in the chat first today. I appreciate that. Don't forget to hit that like button, please. Okay. Now then, as you can see, we have 3 units now. Top, middle, and bottom. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put this one on, so the top to this and then the bottom to this. But before I do any of that, I'm going to take it over to the iron and put some heat on it. And now we have it pressed nicely. So now the next thing we have to do is we have to make sure that these seam lines here all match each other. But when you get ready, when you sew them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the first 2 facing together. And like I said, I already pressed each side seam open. But first I'm going to pin them on each corner first. Hey, Candace, good to see you. Hi, Cindy, how are you? Looks like I have to go do, I'm going to go do a quick housekeeping real fast. I need to take care of something right now before any more stuff comes across my channel. Okay, settings. Fixing to block somebody. Well, I thought I was going to anyway. Okay. Looks like I got rid of him for now. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Anyway, and thank you, uh, Andy, for helping me as well. Okay. As I was saying before we got rudely interrupted here, Oh, I'm going to pin one corner first. Do that first. No, I had to take care of something. Sorry. Someone was thinking they were having fun, but they're not. We just fixed them. Thanks, Andy, for your help. All right, so now I pinned them corner to corner. Now what I got to do is I'm going to take a straight pin and I'm going to put this in the center seam right in the middle of this seam, and it should come out in the seam on that other side, on the front side, and then I'm going to put the needle through the front side of the other side and make sure that it's coming through the middle of the seam there. So this matches. Then I'm going to do the same thing with this other one. Sorry for the interruption, y'all. Okay. Okay. So now I've got them there. Now what I want to do is I'm going to make sure that each of these seams that I have on both sides are parallel and right side by side of the way they should be. And then I'm going to put a pin through them. I'll be checking in while sitting at Fairbanks, Alaska airport. Oh, someone's going flying. Where are you going, Shirley? Or do you not want to? Yeah, where are you flying to? Hey, okay, so we got that one pin in here, and I put it on both of these. Now I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on the other side because I want to make sure that both sides line up with each other. She lives back home to Anchorage. Okay, gotcha. I didn't know you weren't home. Hope you're having a good day too. Persistent little booger. Okay, now I'm going to take these pins out that I had in the middle of the seams, and then I'm just going to pin each of these quadrants in the center. I want to make sure everything lays properly. How long will your flight be, Shirley? I have an announcement to make when I get done with this, so stay tuned for that because you might want to hear this because if you come looking for me tomorrow, you're going to be like, uh-oh, where's she at? Okay, I've got that one done. Let's take it out of the machine. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it on over to the machine now. And I mean, over to the ironing station. And I'm going to go ahead and press it open. Oh, this iron is very hot. Okay, so we got this done, but I want to run my seam roller over this a little bit because I see there seems to be a tiny bit of bowing right there. So I want it flatter. All right. Now what I'm going to do, I've already sewn the top half on. Take this bottom half and we're going to sew it on here also, but I'm going to pin it first. Someone's consistent, let me tell you. Robin says, I'm going to Saturday to get the 1,000 block book. Oh, congratulations, Robin. That's exciting. Okay, let's go ahead and start the pinning process. All right, I'm going Saturday. Yep. I am super happy about that. Are you going to try to catch up on all the blocks? Hey, Linda, how are you? Sitting to eat while watch. I made homemade sauce and meatballs. Yum. Katie, did you get through to cotton cuts? No, I didn't. Ended up sending an email. That sounds tasty what you made though. All right. Let's get this pinned. I'm going to put it in the seam again. A pin right in the middle of the seam and make sure it comes out in the seam. Not off to the left, not off to the right, but right in the middle of the seam. And then put it through the front of the other one so that both seams have this pin. So now I've got that lined up. And then I'm come to the second seam and do the same thing. Okay, then I'm going to come back over here and make sure this is all sitting nice and nested together. And I'll put pins in it. Cynthia says you're making her hungry. Okay, so I put seam there. I'm just making sure I have these pinned good. Turn this one around. Do the same thing. And then what I'll do is I'll take those center pins out. And then I'll finish pinning the rest of the block. And this needs repinning right here. I notice it's not straight on top like it should be. We ate at the hotel today. We had ribeye steaks and potatoes, and I had a stir-fried vegetable. Okay, now let's get this center done. I heard they are good. Yeah, normally they are. Um, but I couldn't get through on the phone, so I sent an email. And I'm sure I'll get an answer soon, either today or tomorrow. I'm not going to be upset or nothing like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is sew this side together. Ouch. Now that's smarted. Be careful of stabbies, says Andy. Definitely. Thank you, Andy, for staying on top of this. I appreciate it. Okay. Now let me check these seams on this one, make sure everything's A-okay. And they are, so I'm going to go ahead and press them. Oh, you talking tonight? Go tell Daddy you're hungry. Go tell Daddy. Go tell Daddy. I got this. Go tell him. Hey, Daddy. Go tell Daddy. Your nose is cold, Nora. What is it? And we have a completed block 2 of the Moda Blockheads Crossroads. And there it is, all finished. My camera must have turned. My dogs are telling me they are hungry too, said Cynthia. Yes, Katie, I have to go back and get the block pages and names, not today. Robin, on one of the, on any of those, okay, in my playlist on my main YouTube channel, you'll see a playlist that says 1000 block. And I made sure I tagged all the videos to all of 9 of those blocks. And so in the description box, I have posted each block that we've got, because there's 9 of them now. So I made sure, and I'll double check to make sure I put all 9 in there. I'll go back through there, but you should be able to find, especially on the latest video, all 9 of the blocks, the names of them, the page number, and their block number. And that way you can find it easy in the book. So there you got it. So those that missed the info about this Moda Blockhead 6 Block 2, let me read what it says about it. It says Crossroads by Lynn. I can't say, I think it's Hagmeyer, but I bet that's wrong. Of Kansas Trouble Quilters. The Crossroads block combines half square triangles, quarter square triangles, and pieced units to create a structured yet flowing design. The intersection shapes evoke the feeling of well-worn paths and meeting at a crossroads, blending symmetry and movement. So this is why she did it the way she did. Okay, it also has that churn dash effect going on as well. For those that hadn't seen block 1, let me get it. I'll show you block 1. Where did I'm pretty sure I put it in here. Yeah, here it is. This is block 1, and this one's called Regatta. So it has to do with a sail. It's a type of boat race that uses sails to race on. Not sure where I put the paperwork for that one, but we could go talk about it. For those who've never done Moda Blockheads, these are free. This is Moda Blockhead 6, and now we have 2 blocks. And so my quilt top will be very scrappy. So you see I've used 2 different colors, but that's okay. But these blocks are 9.5 inch finished, unfinished, I think. Which, yeah, 9.5 inch unfinished currently. So there'll be either 24 or 25 blocks. I don't remember what they said, but what I like about what Moda does is they give you when you print out your paper, you can actually cut a little piece off your fabric and glue it on here so that you can see your staff. And on the next page, you have the instructions. And then you have a coloring page where you can color the blocks. Yeah, they're going to all be the same size. Yeah. So I know the last time that Moda did these, they had 3 different sizes you could do. You could do the 3 inch, 6 inch, and 9 inch. So yeah, it's going to be fun to see what comes. I have a feeling we're going to see lots of triangles. I can tell you that. So what do y'all think about these blocks? Aren't they cool? And like I said, what I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the live, I've heard some complaints made about that the measurements aren't right or aren't correct. These directions may not be as self-explanatory, but that book that you see me working out of, this one has no written instructions, just the measurements that you have to cut. Okay. But they do give you a diagram to look at also, and they broke it apart so that you can tell what section goes where. And here they've done basically the same thing. You have all of this pictorial part here along with showing you what each section is supposed to look like. There is a video in my description box. Moda Blockheads posted a video for block 1 and block 2, and it's on a YouTube channel through Moda Fabrics, and you can go there and look at their tutorial too if mine was not that great. I mean, I don't know. I think I did okay explaining everything. The only thing I didn't do was cut it in front of a live. Um, yeah. So there's that. I could cut it and do another block if y'all want me to, but I thought that this was good enough. Um, let me see if I can find the. I don't know I don't know what I did with the printed one. Normally I put it with my block. I don't know why I didn't have it with this block. But I'll find it and put it with my block so that next time. Okay, so these blocks come out every Wednesday. And let me I'm going to go over to Facebook and to the Moda Blockheads group. There is a group, and let y'all, and I'm going to share the screen and let you see a little bit of what that group looks like, because people be posting pictures in there of their finished blocks as well. They have archive page. I mean, I have posted every link there is relating to this sew along the Moda Blockheads is doing in my description box. I've made sure to post all of that in there for you guys. So let me go over and find the Facebook group real quick, and then I'll share the screen so you can see it. And I can also show you the websites that they have, where everything's at. Tomorrow morning, my granddaughter is going into surgery, just so y'all know, at 10:30. So keep my granddaughter, for those who believe in the power of prayer. I'm not forcing religion on anyone because I don't think that's what my channel should be. But I do believe in prayer, and saying a little prayer, keep your hand on my granddaughter would be great while she goes through surgery tomorrow morning. Okay, let me share the screen with you guys. No, Nora. Okay. All right. So this is their Facebook group. It's called Moda Blockheads Sew Along. That's the name of the channel. Not channel, group. Sorry. Let me know when you see the screen, and then I can start talking about it. No, Nora. Thank you, Cynthia. Katie, yeah. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, she's 5 years old. She's my youngest granddaughter. And she's going in for the same type of surgery that my son had to go through when he was 6, and because she's been having the same issues he had when he was her age. Only he had them from the moment he was born. It just took a long time to get doctors to listen. Okay, does everybody give me a heart or something to let me know you see the screen? The shared screen of the Moda Blockheads Sew Along. Stop, Nora. Go tell Daddy. Go tell Daddy. Anyone see the screen? In the world? Nora, no. Okay, gotcha. Hey, Denise. All right. All right, let's talk about this Facebook group. I've been on this group for, I don't know, so long. I accidentally closed the window, didn't I? Uh-oh. Where'd it go? Oh boy, I accidentally touched something. Okay, now about the group. It says Moda Blockheads so long. They have almost 10,000 people in this group, and most everybody participates in the group. Some of us don't say much at all, but I thought I would share and let you see. You can, so if you do the Moda Blockheads, you can actually share your blocks in their channel or their group as well. And everybody does that. They share their pictures of their work. Clean, getting ready for boarding. Have a safe flight, Shirley. All right, so I'm just going to scroll through so you can see people's blocks. And it might even give you a little inspiration. Oh, somebody did a fussy cut. Wow. Look at all these pretty blocks. So these ones that you see right now are block 1. Regatta or Regatta. I'm not sure exactly how you say that. Wow. There's mine. And then when they first started announcing the next one, people were sharing their colorways that they planned on using. So that's the group. And then they also have websites. So you have this one called Blockhead 6. This one is wait a minute. Let me get back up here. Nope, that's blog. Sorry. Yeah, Blockhead 6 Archives, what it's called. And here, every week after they posted the first block, it'll automatically go straight to the archives, and then each week they'll keep adding to it. And they also show you a black and white graphic of the block you're making, which gives you an idea of what's involved in it, which I like that part because you get a good picture. So you see the picture in black and white, and then there's a pattern PDF underneath it. It's Blockhead 6, Block 2, Crossroads. There's also a Moda blog post, BH6 Block 2 blog post, and an email in case you need, or not an email, the designer's Instagram account at Lynn KTQ. And as you can see so far there's only 2 blocks. The first block was created by I forget her first, I think it's Vivian Christensen is who I think did the first one. No, Vanessa Christensen. Yeah, that was her name. So they have that web page. They also have, I need to move this out of the way because it's in my way. The other page that they have here is, well, this is the PDF. Yeah. And let me see if this is something else. And then there's also a link on YouTube. So there's all of these things that you can see about it. Fabric choices can make a difference. Yes. All right. Anyone want to ask any questions? I can't believe I got this done in less than 2 hours. Usually it takes me longer. So I'm really happy that I managed to accomplish this. Very happy about it. So as I said, these are the 2 blocks. All right, let me give you some information. There will not be a live tomorrow afternoon Eastern Standard Time or Saturday Eastern Standard Time. And you're going to be like, why not? Because I'm going off grid. For those of you don't know what that means that when we leave by boat with our friends tomorrow afternoon, we're meeting them at 1 o'clock. So we'll be sailing between 1 and 2 o'clock probably, or close to 2 o'clock. I will go live with my phone on the boat as we're leaving port. I can't guarantee you that I will see anything anyone says in the chat. I'm hoping that Nikolaj will monitor the chat with his phone, because the sun will be a glare on my phone, and the glare bounces from my phone to my glasses, and it messes with my eyes. And so basically, it's just a hot mess. So I will run the live for as long as I have cell service. So when I disappear suddenly and I don't say goodbye or nothing, that's because I lost the cell service. I wanted y'all to see what it was like for us to pull out of port in a boat. I think it'll be fun for all of y'all to get an idea of that. Plus, you get to see a lot of the town from the boat from a different angle that I can't get because I'm on land all the time. Yeah, there's a mode. Let me find the videos for the mode videos. Hold on a minute. And I'll keep talking about our trip. So tomorrow we're leaving. We will not come back until Sunday afternoon. Now, while I'm gone, I will be getting lots of footage of our trip. So no worries on that. I will be sharing all of that with you guys. I think the Facebook page for Moda is different than the one you showed. No, it's not. They only have one Facebook group that I know about. That I know about. Put it that way. Thank you, Susan. Let me find the links for the two Moda ones. Hold on a minute, please. All right. That did not come out. Moda Blockheads 6. See here. All right, here's the first one for block 1. If you go back to the video number 1 of this blockhead, it's just Moda. Yeah, the group I showed you was from Facebook. It has always been Moda Blockheads so long. So here's for block 1. And then I'll share with you the second video as well. Okay, share this one. Click on that. Okay, yeah. And this is for Moda Block 2, Crossroads. Okay, those are the two links. Their Facebook page. According to this private group, it's 9.8 thousand members. Moda Blockheads so long. Let me see if there is a Moda Blockhead 6 that I didn't know about. No, I do not see a Moda Blockhead 6. Oh, I see the one you're talking about. There's one that says 80,000 members. Ooh. Yeah, I'm not even a member of that one. And they're showing blocks on it too. So which one is the main one then? I've always been a member of the other one. Wow. Okay, fine. And here is the one with the 80,000 members. Wow. Okay. So apparently Moda Blockheads has two different groups. I need a decent design wall for my Wild West this season. Thank you for sharing that, Terry. I did not know there was two of them. I've always just been on that one. That's interesting. I wonder why they have two groups. What's the purpose? That just confuses everybody. Nora, stop. Wow. Now I'll have to join that one because I wasn't even aware of that. Looks like somebody tried to start a Moda Blockhead 6 too. So I'm wondering which one is actually which one actually belongs to Moda Blockheads. Interesting. I'll have to look into that later. All right. Okay, let me get back to you guys. I have somebody blowing up my phone. This BDK is the one they shared. Okay. I got from under their first YouTube last week. Okay. Interesting. Babe, can you feed her, please? All right. No. Anyway, back to my trip. Like I said, I will go live tomorrow on the boat, and so keep an eye out. It'll be, since we're leaving between 1 and 2 o'clock our time, that's going to be, it'll be 10 a.m. between 10 and 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just keep an eye out. I will be live on my phone. I know she's always starving. And I'll run the live until we no longer have cell service. And you'll hear me talking, but I'm hoping Nikolaj won't mind using his phone to monitor the chat. And then what I'm going to be doing while we're going fishing for one thing. I believe we're going cod fishing tomorrow. We will be off grid. That means that you will not see or hear from me the entire weekend because we will have no cell service. There will be no human beings where we're at, unless someone else is in a boat, of course. You know, but for the most part, we rarely ever run into anyone else in a boat because we go so far out in the middle of nowhere. And there's not human civilization where we're going. Once we get about an hour away from here, it's all nature. And so I will be videoing and taking pictures. I'm hoping to see some icebergs while we're out. Gonna make sure I get lots of videos of that too. And maybe we can even talk Torben into maybe slowing down for some, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how tomorrow goes. The only reason we would come back sooner is if the weather gets really bad, but it should be a great weekend where we have good weather. So that's what I'm going to do. Me and Nikolaj are going out with Torben and his wife, and we're going to go commune with nature. So no one will know where we are or anything because we can't just, you know, we might pass by a couple of small settlements or villages where we get a small, minute amount of cell service, and I might drop in. If I can get on, I might say, hey, we're passing by such and such place, and then disappear again. So there is that chance of that happening. So we will be gone all weekend until Sunday afternoon. My friend, the young lady who takes care of my house when I go to the United States, Hanifa, she'll be here to take care of Nora in the house. And yeah, so I won't have no lives for those 2 days. I thought I had enough time to try to do a pre-record, but it doesn't look like it. So, you know, I can still try to do a pre-record tonight. We'll see if I can get it done. I had part of the pre-record done. I just need to sew a block, and I have it all laid out to do it. So I might just do that, and then I'll try to get it edited, and then you'll have something to watch tomorrow. Is that a good thing? No one knows where you are? The boat has everything on it, Robin. It has a toilet and a shower and a mini kitchen. Sleeping, how many does it sleep, babe? Six or eight.
I think it could be 6, 7, yeah.
Yeah, we can. It can actually technically sleep 8, I think. Me and Nikolaj always sleep at the nose of the boat because it has like a full size bed situated there, and then there's 2 smaller areas, or yeah, down below where Torben and Ellie stay. And then if you had more people that you needed to house, you can put down the table, I think, apparently, and do something with that. I've never seen it like that. But as to people not knowing where we are, we do have a sat phone. There's that. So if we had an emergency, he could call for help. So don't worry about that part. But yeah, it has everything. So no problem at all about that. I've gone out so much, I don't even think about people getting concerned when you hear you're going in the middle of nowhere. Oh, the other thing I was going to talk to y'all about is some of y'all saw where I made a comment yesterday in someone else's live that something happened here in town that was very sad. So one of the biggest things that, well, there's 2 things that can happen here when it comes to people and boats. 2 things are free, you think, honey?
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, 2 to 3 things. One can be that you go out with your boat and you get stuck in ice and have to be rescued. The second thing that can happen is you go out in your boat and then the fog comes in and you can't see anything. Or you can be stupid and go out on your boat and you be drinking when one of these other 2 things happen. So this week, a man and his 2 kids went out on the boat. They were going from here to Narsok, right?
I think it's from
another village. Anyway, they were going from here to there somewhere. And when he left, I don't think there was any fog, but then fog came rolling in really fast. And I remember the fog because it was here about 4 days ago, and it was so bad you couldn't see anything. And I didn't hear about that they were looking for the boat until 2 days had already passed. And they basically shut down the fjord and said no cruise ships could come into the fjord because they were trying to find this man and his 2 kids. They found them day before yesterday, and what they found, it wasn't good. They're gone, all of them. And Nikolaj's heard different comments about what contributed to the accident. But 2 young children lost their lives this past week. So, these things happen when people get too lax in safety stuff. And this is why Torben is always mindful about the weather. We don't go out if he knows there's going to be bad weather. But he also knows that if he goes out in windy conditions, he's going to have 2 ladies on his hands puking. Because I can't deal with the boat doing this. All right. Cynthia says she's got to go. Have lots of fun this weekend. But if I could figure out how to set up my live for tomorrow through my phone, I don't know how to set up a pre-live. I don't know how to do that. I just know how to go live. YouTube's kind of complicated when it comes to doing it from a phone and you're doing it on the fly. So just keep an eye out to see if I've gone live tomorrow or not. And when I do, whatever you see is what you're going to get. It's nothing going to be special or fancy or nothing. You're going to hear me talking. You're going to hear the boat making noise. You're going to get all of it. But you will see us leaving the town, and you'll get a different view of our town. And if we're able to stay live long enough and we come across some icebergs, you'll get to see that too. How many kilometers away before you think we'll lose cell phone, honey? Because I don't know if we're going to pass by Narsok or not. I don't know exactly where we're going fishing, put it that way. He said we were going to go cod fishing, so I know it's going to be that way. And I know you don't know what that means, but I know what that means. And Terry says, I will be off grid the next 3, except in the evenings. Yeah, this will be totally off grid. Maybe we'll see some northern lights tomorrow night. I don't know. But I don't think so, because there's just too much twilight in the sky now. We are up to, let me see how many hours we're up to now. Hold on a minute while I look, because we are getting closer and closer to the longest day, which will be, the longest day will end at 1:45 a.m. on June the 21st. Let me tell you where we are on sunset, sunrise here. Okay, so Friday, June the 6th, sunrise will be at 4:39 a.m. and sunset will be at 11:27 p.m. Oh, no, 11, what's today's date? Okay, so tonight, sunset will be at 11:27 p.m., but it'll still be daylight outside because basically the sun just dropped below the horizon line. And then tomorrow morning, it'll rise at 4:39. And then, let me see. So let me see how many hours this is.
18 hours.
Yes, about 18 hours, y'all. Twilight will be from 12 a.m. to 1:08 a.m. 2:50. Wow, yeah. There's all kinds of, they have all kinds of different information here. Yep, so basically our daylight hours will be 18 minutes and 46 minutes, 18 hours, 46 minutes and 35 seconds. If Elon gets really pissed, he may get made and take his marbles home. He can go do whatever he wants as long as he doesn't have to do with Greenland. Okay, what else? Okay, let's talk about a couple more things and then I think I'm gonna shut this slide down. Okay, so next week, here's what we're going to do. On June the 8th will be me and Sean at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for sewing on the Star Climber block. Okay. Then on the 10th, I think it's the 10th. Let me make sure. I will be doing a crochet sew together with hang on a minute. All right. Tuesday, June the 10th, we'll be crocheting with Shonda from Under the Needle, Andy from Crafty Witch 232, and Amanda from Scraptastic Crochet. We will be doing that the 10th. And then on the 13th, we will be working on block number 10 of Start, which will be our merry-go-round block. And also Tasha from Tasha Quilts is joining me on that night because I moved her. So she was supposed to sew with me tomorrow, but because I'm going out on a boat, I talked to her, so we're moving it. I also did my interview this week with Andy of True Blue, and the premiere for that podcast interview will be on June the 16th. And then we have some more stuff to do with Andy of True Blue. She's going to sew with me on June the 21st. So there's lots for y'all to be looking forward to that's going to be happening in my channel. Hey, Sherry. So I just wanted to let you know about that. And one more time, I'll show you these blocks. So this is Moda Block. Let me show you the first one first. This is Moda Blockheads 6 with block 1. This one's called Regatta. And then the second one is Crossroads. That's block number 2. So that's where we are. And I'll be doing these every week. I'll try to keep them. So far, I'm staying right on task with it. And I think it's fun that I'm doing them on the live because it'll keep me engaged to get these done this time. Every time I do like 4 or 5 of them and then something happens and I fall off the wagon. I'm going to try not to fall off the wagon this time. And I think what I'm going to do with these is, depending on how many blocks I end up with for the 1,000 block one, who knows, I might incorporate these as a border going around the whole quilt. I don't know. Or we'll make 2 different quilts. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. Hey, Vicky Bush. Hey, Robin. Denise is, yeah. All right. Let me see. I still can go another 30 minutes. So what do y'all want to see me do? I was working on this on my blockhead, not blockheads, my Phoenix, but I think I had to do something with one of them where I had to fix something on it. There was something wrong with one of them. And I think it might have been this part of it. Or I hadn't sewn them together. Oh, maybe I hadn't sewn them together yet. Maybe that's what it was. Oh, yeah, I hadn't sewn them together yet. Okay. I had one of them turned the wrong way is what it was, I believe. Let me find the instructions. I think I put one of them wrong. All right, hang on a minute while I try to get this organized so you can see what I'm talking about. So when I was sewing on the live the other day, let me sit. I'm gonna pull this off. Okay, when I was sewing this the other day, I made a mistake while I was doing the live. And because I didn't want to waste time the other day, I wanted to at least get one of the Clue 3Bs done. I told y'all that I would probably either do it offline or do it on, fix it on a different night, the live, on a different live, yeah. Okay, so let me show you what happened. Okay, so you see how right here on this block, we had E, E, D, and E, okay? And then down here on this second half right here, I have this upside down. Hold on a minute. Bear with me. Yeah, okay. Now we got it the right way. So this is F, and this is E and C. And then up here you've got E and D, which is the yellow. Now, what I did is this is the same right here, but then down here on the bottom, I hope you can see it. Down here on the bottom, see how we have D, which is the yellow. Oh, wait, you can't see what I'm talking about. Hold on, sorry. You see how we have D is the yellow, and this is C, the orange. So on this half here, I have them backwards. So I have to take this apart right here and switch these 2 half triangles because they are wrong. So what I'll do tonight on the live is we're going to take this section apart right here. We're going to take this apart, okay? Because there's nothing wrong with this. This one's fine. So I'll just lay it up here. What we are going to do is I'm going to take the seam out right here. Then I have to remove these 2 right here and switch them around so that the yellow's over here, orange is over here. Yes, this is large, Terry. So let me get the seam ripper out and we're going to rip this out right here on the line. Yeah, the orange and the yellow are in the wrong direction. Yep, or on the wrong side of the square. So what I figured, why not fix this right here where y'all can watch me do it, so you know, nobody's perfect, especially me. And of course, I'm going to get them backwards. You know me, always putting the triangles in the wrong place. So let's get this ripped out, and I'm going to take it over and at least press it with the iron. I'm not going to mess. I don't want to stretch it or nothing like that. But I want to make sure that I can fold it flat where I can or press it flat. That way when I sew it back on, it won't be all wonky like. So, but I have to pull the 2 blocks apart first. So it's a large Phoenix. I've never done the small ones. I'm super excited about going off for the weekend. I really can. There's something about when you get out to nature and you get to commune with her and get away from civilization and all the inertia of life, that it just, when you come back home, you're just all rejuvenated and relaxed again. And I could use a trip out. I haven't gone anywhere in a while. I don't get to go off from the house very often. So um, I'm probably going to go out with them more times this summer than I did last summer, because I told them I want to go out more often. So there might be times where I cancel lives just so I can go out, because I feel like that I need to stop staying in the house so much. I spend too much time here when I could be going out in nature and making footage, at least making footage while I commute. I don't know, maybe we'll get to see some wildlife while we're out too. I'm hoping maybe we'll see a reindeer or whales. That would be nice, or seals, something that might be on the camera. You never know what we're going to see. Or we may just see icebergs and you see me catch fish, because we're definitely going to codfish. And codfish are lots of fun to catch. All right, I'll set this one aside because I know there's nothing wrong with this. And I'll put it right there. I'm going to take this, and we're going to, first I'm going to take the iron right here and press this flat. And then I'm going to just remove these two. No, I'm going to remove these two sides. I had to seam rip my clue for as well. The slight difference may matter in the end. Yeah, probably. It'll make it look weird if you don't fix it. You notice she got quiet. She's not bugging me now. Now I'm talking about you. She didn't like us leaving her today. Which way did I sew this on first? Okay, so I sewed the yellow on first. All right, let's take this off. I might have to undo a little bit here because I did it like this to this and this to this. Getting out will help you. Yeah. And it also might just get me back into my creative mode too. Well, I haven't been out of my creative mode. I am taking my crocheting with me. I do plan to do that, because when we're not doing anything at all, just sitting, I will sit out and sew or crochet. I'll be working on my little Northern Lights Afghan I'm working on. Neither one of us have a laptop to take with us, so we don't have that, or otherwise I'd be editing videos. But I'm excited because that means I get to get out and see things and take in all of it. It's just, there's no noise when we go out to nature. I mean, we can hear the boat, the small little rumble it makes because it's running. But outside of that, you only hear nature. And then occasionally you might hear a jet passing over us in the sky. But the jet's way up in the air. So you really have to be listening for it to even hear it. Oh, come on. Let me take you out. What are you doing? I must not have clipped this part. Yeah, maybe it'll come out. Or not. Okay, let's try this again. We don't want to be putting no holes in the fabric. Okay, we got that one out. Now, because of the way I sewed these, because I went from one end to the other end, I'm probably going to have to take part of this seam out right here because of how I sewed it. I'm almost sure of it. Yep. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to rip this whole green one off. I'm just going to take like take an inch of the seam out where I can lay it back and then rip the seam. And then when I sew this one where the orange is, I'll put it on first and then I'll re-sew this rest of the seam and then I'll do the other side. That way I'm not ripping the entire part of it out because there's no need for it. You need to do life first, work later, says Terry. Yep. I do spend a lot of time sitting in front of this screen a lot. I'm trying to get my channel to grow and it's been stalled. I'm not trying to make tons of money. That's not what I'm after. I just want it to grow. And I'm getting close to that 500 mark of 500 videos. I can't believe I have that many videos on my YouTube channel. I can believe I have 12,000, almost 20,000 photographs because that's all I do is take pictures. But 500 videos, wow. I don't even know how that happened. And this channel will be 2 years old in July, so that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good for a new channel. What do y'all think? I know some people are more prolific. I was watching a channel the other day. She's below 1,000, but she has 1,300 videos on her channel. She hasn't hit that 1,000 mark yet. So she's pretty prolific with her videos. I love that I'm getting to make so many new friends. Lori says it's great. I don't think I'll ever be a big channel, but I think it'll be okay channel. We'll be a little okay channel. All right, we got that seam ripped out. Now what I need to do is I'm going to take all of this over to the iron after I get all these little pieces of thread out. I'm going to press it, not iron, press, because I don't want to stretch this because it's already been picked, sewn on and the machine's pulled on it a little bit. So we don't want to make anything wonky. We have to take it easy. There must be something going on because people have been shooting off fireworks today. Okay, let me take this over to the iron and press it. And I'm going to move some of this out of the way so you can see what we're working on. Okay. Let me see here. Set this one aside. I need to press this one also. Okay, so this is going to go to the right of it. I'm going to lay this out a little bit so that I can make sure I put those colors in the right spot this time. So we need to have that like that. And then this is going to be up like this. And then the orange will go on this side. The yellow will go on this side. Okay, So the first thing we'll do is I'm going to sew the yellow back on first so that I can re-sew the rest of the seam on too. So let's do that first. And then we'll get this put back together the way it's supposed to be. And then I will have this clue done. Hey Jess, how are you doing? Hey, Jess, what did you think about block number 2 of the Moda Blockheads book block? I think it came together really good. Thank you, Jess. I'm enjoying them. I didn't think it was all that hard to put that together today. That Crossroads, it was really pretty easy to me. But I also think that the reason it may seem easy is because I've been doing blocks from the 1,000 block book, and most of those blocks in that book are really challenging, and I think it's definitely helping me build my skills, which is the purpose of doing those blocks in that book anyway. So I'm really particularly happy about it. Jess says she loved block number 2. Yeah, it looks very nice and happy. I should do one that's red and white. Then it'll have both of our country colors in it. It'll have red, white, and blue for the United States and red and white for Greenland. Jess says, nope, it was simple, and I like how it's a bit oversized. So yeah, the trimming wasn't the only thing that was way bigger than the hourglass was bigger, but I still didn't mind trimming it down to 3.5. There wasn't that much wastage. The half squares only had like, golly, just a minute amount. Can't fly an American flag right now because it might piss someone off. So I'm not going to fly one until things get settled down, if they get settled down. See, I'm allowed to fly my flag here because me and Nikolaj went and talked to public officials about me flying my flag for special occasions like the 4th of July, or if a president had died, like I flew it when George Bush died, and for a couple other things. But since everything's been going on, I haven't been able to do that because I don't want anyone getting upset. Because the community here have been really good to me. I've been working for my boss now for 13 years this month. That's the longest I've held down a job. I am super proud of myself. Okay, I've got the yellow on here now. Let's get that orange back on here, and then we can get this other part of this block finished. Jess, her name is Andy. Okay. We're going to get this back on here, and then we're going to get all this sewn back together again. And then we'll finally have that other big block done. Sorry, I'm cuddling doggies. Nora is snoring. She's up underneath the desk right now. Okay. Now let me take this over there and get it pressed. Okay. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. Set this all up so you can see what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so this is the top half of that block. And then this one's going to go on, this one that I just fixed goes on the left side. And the other one goes here on the right side. Okay. Let me make sure that's correct before I sew it together. C and D, yep. Okay. Now we're going to sew this together. Hi, Jess. Sorry I was stuffing my face. Just a short visit, as I have visitors when I saw your colors. I had to log in. Hi, Denise. How have you been? I've missed you. I hope everything's been going good in your world. Been a while. My granddaughter has her surgery tomorrow morning at 10:30, the youngest one. So I should hear something from my daughter before we go off grid tomorrow. So hopefully she'll send me a message when she gets the report from the surgeon. Jess says she's stuffing her face too. Oreos, wait, Okeo's Pro plain yogurt strawberry. Oh, interesting. Katie, hello. Nice to see you, Katie. Okay, I got this pinned. Let me make sure everything looks okay on the other side as well. Let's put another pin up here. All right. Let me see which side I want to sew on. Okay. Let's get this leader in here. I'm back for a bit, says Cynthia. What are you working on now? I am working on my clue 3, I think, of my Phoenix. I made a mistake during a live the other night and put the yellow and the orange in the wrong position on the block. Yeah, clue 3. I put these orange and yellow in the wrong position. So tonight I have took it out. Everybody watched me take it apart and put it back together. And now I'm going to sew the whole block together. And then I'll have clue 3 finished. And then, you know, I won't be sewing all weekend, so I'll be doing some catching up next week with trying to get clue 5 done. No, clue 4 done before clue 5 comes out, but because clue 5 comes out, I think clue 5 comes out tomorrow. So it'll already be out when I get home. That's okay. I don't mind. I'll get this caught up and I'll be with everybody else when it happens. Okay. Now, did I sew this one? Yes, I did. The seam's going to have to be open on this so I can get it to lay down right. Because it's very bulky if I don't. Okay, let's take it over to the iron. Okay, now what we're going to do, now that I've sewed these two together, we are going to join this one, the top of this to the bottom of this to make this big block. And I had to make 2 of these, and then I'll show you the other 2 that I had to make because there's 2 sets of clues in this clue 3. You have clue 3A and clue 3B. And both sets had 2 in them. This is going to be an interesting quilt, I think. I'm really enjoying this Phoenix. Yep. Terry says clue 5 tomorrow. Someone posted, I think she might have been an ambassador. She's already done her clue 5. She did it on the video, and I watched part of it yesterday. I was trying to catch a bunch of people's lives last night because I won't be here to do watch hours for anyone because I'm going to shut my whole system down while I'm gone. Sewing machine's going to be unplugged. Everything's getting a break tomorrow right before we leave. I'll be shutting it all down. Except the TV. Hanifa will probably have the TV on the whole time because I never turn it off. I know she works tomorrow, so Nora will be by herself for, I don't know, not too long. Because I think she gets off at 2. And we're leaving at between 12 and 1 o'clock to meet them at the up at the harbor at the where the boat is parked. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm lining everything up and getting everything pinned so that it's the way it should be. And I need to put it up underneath the light because the dark colors tease my eyes. But I definitely, like I said, I will be going live when I get down to the harbor and film us leaving. So y'all check in tomorrow if you're not busy for the live when it goes on live on my phone. I'm going to ask Nikolaj to monitor the chat with his phone because I won't be able to see what people are saying. Too much glare bounces off my glasses. Especially if the sun is really bright tomorrow. I got to remember to take a doggone hat with me. I always forget to take a hat and then I pay the price because my lips get sores all over them. Sun poisoning. The rest of my skin I'm not too worried about because I always wear long sleeves anyway. And the sun is different here. It's harder to get a sunburn up here. And I don't believe in getting sunburned, so we'll stay protected. We bought a cooler today, you guys, for the first time since we've lived here. Because it's getting so warm these days, we need to keep food stuff cold with a cooler. All right, we're getting this pin. We should have it ready to go here in just a minute. Well, Michael snatched up Joanne's domain. Did they really? Is that good or bad? Okay, got it all pinned. Let's get it sewn. I won't just not that interested. What does that mean? Okay, let's get this sewn together before I get distracted. Yeah, also I'll try to take a picture of the boat so you can see. I'll try to take a picture of the boat and also do a video of the inside of the boat so you guys can see what the boat looks like, since there's been questions about bathroom and all this other kind of thing. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's a really nice boat. It has 2 engines in it, internal engines. So he can do 26 knots in the boat. But we you know, when we're not out hunting and fishing and hiking, we sleep on the boat, we eat on the boat, bathe on the boat. Hello, Fuzzy Adventures and More. What's your first name? Terry says that remains to be seen. Let's see here. Oh, we are perfect. Almost there, y'all. All right. Let me move some stuff out of the way. Okay. We're just clearing this off so I can show you the clues. I'm going to put my leaders up here. All right. Okay. Okay, so basically we had to have 2 different sets of clues. So we had to make 2 of these. Make sure I have them on turned the way you can see them. I'm trying to anyway. Make sure you can see the whole thing. Okay, so here's, I had to make 2 of these. Yeah, move that over. Okay. So we had to make 2 of these. All right, flip some stuff off from my laptop. Oops. Okay. And then we had to make 2 of these. So this was clue 3A. This is clue 3B. Where's the other one? Okay. There we got. Now that's all done. Yay! Coming along with these. So when I come back, I will go ahead and work on number 4 and number 5, since number 5 is going to come out tomorrow. And I always put these all together. I have, let me find the container I keep these in. I must have took clue 4 out and laid it somewhere. I probably did. Okay, so there you have. This is what I keep all my stuff in, and that way none of these pieces end up disappearing on me. And normally I would put this in there, but I think I took, yeah, here's clue 4. I might as well just put them back together until I come back from my trip. Okay. And I think I've already printed clue 4. Yep, here's clue 4. Yeah. So I keep them all in a container like this. And they're all together, not going anywhere. And I forgot to put, oh, here's clue, here's the, yeah, here's my first one. So I will also take and put these with my blocks. So we got Regatta for block 1 of my Moda Blockheads, and number 2, Crossroads, and I will put it with my block. And these will also go into the same container I'm using for my 1,000. I have 1,000 block in here. I also have other blocks that I was working, that I've made over time. Like y'all were talking about, someone made a comment on Tammy's page about that little 3-inch block. I'm going to show y'all something. Hang on a second. I'm going to show it real quick. I have a block I sewed together where it's really tiny blocks right here. Let me measure these, each individual blocks I sewed together. So each one of these blocks right here that you see, they are 4.5 inch unfinished. So they'll be 4 inch when they're finished. And these are super tiny. These are 1 inch. Yep. So these half square triangles are 1 inch finished half square triangles. And this is what the back of it looks like. So I play around a lot with blocks to get a feel. I'm because one of the things I really am trying to do is get a better understanding of the mechanics of a block. It might not matter to everyone, but it helps me have a better understanding, especially when I turn angles in the wrong direction. So anyway, I'm rambling. Put all these in here. And those in there.
Hey, sis.
Myra,
Hi, darling.
how you doing?
I'm okay. May I please have the passcode so I can be on my computer instead of my phone?
Sure. I won't be here too much longer, though, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I finished what I was doing. I'm going off grid tomorrow.
Going fishing, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And hiking probably, and iceberg watching, and whatever else.
So cool.
So yeah. So I just I finished what I had planned on accomplishing tonight. And I was about to log off. I thought everybody, you know, let me see what time it is.
Is everybody gone?
No, they're still here. I just was going to try not to run this past 2 hours because I have to finish getting ready for the trip. I still have packing to do, and tomorrow morning I've got to get up really early because I'm going to cook 2 chickens to take with me or with us.
Yeah.
Because one of the meals I'm cooking and she's cooking the other one, so she's going to have. I think she's making curry, Thai curry. So because she's from Thailand, his wife is, and so she'll be bringing some Thai food. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to buy a canister of sour cream. Crap. That's going on my list for Nikolaj to do in the morning. Go get sour cream, just in case it's too spicy for my mouth. Because sour cream tones down spicy hot. You doing okay?
Well, my caregiver's mother, who's 3 days younger than my mama or older or something like that, she passed 2 days ago or yesterday.
Oh, no.
Well, 91, and she couldn't transfer, but she was a really hearty eater, so we thought mom would go before she did because she ate so good. But so Phyllis, my sister and I both are just kind of like numb, we're kind of just numb. It's yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry
just,
to hear about that.
well, we're sorry, but we're not sorry because,
Yeah, I know.
to be absent from the body, to be present with Christ. And, now Virginia doesn't have to caregive 24/7. So, I mean, it's bittersweet. And I'm really understanding what that word means.
Yeah. Uh, Ava goes into surgery in the morning
Yes.
at 10:30.
Well, I didn't know what time, but I have it on my calendar.
Yeah, so yeah. I talked to Lynette earlier, and I'm gonna try to talk to her tonight before it gets too much later, and make sure she's ready to go and everything. Yeah, so hopefully everything goes smoothly, no issues.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it'll just be so easy. It's just perfect.
I didn't know, she hadn't told me much about Ava having. We really hadn't talked about the issues with Ava until she told me the other day, and she said that she was telling me about some of her symptoms. I'm like, oh my God, that's just a repeat of Thomas.
Right.
because only Thomas had trouble from the minute he came into the world, but we didn't know why he was the way he was because the doctors weren't listening. When I kept saying my child doesn't sleep, he cries all the time. I can't sleep because he doesn't sleep, and when he sleeps he sounds like a freight train, and then he'll stop breathing, and they weren't listening to any of that kind of stuff. And then when they finally did listen, it was because things escalated to the point of calling an ambulance.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. And when your son gets picked up by an ambulance and then he's going through the ER, and some of the stuff they did to my son shouldn't have happened to begin with.
Yeah.
They should listen to what I was telling them instead of assuming that my son might have had encephalitis or something. Because they put a needle in. They stuck
did
a needle.
A lumbar. Oh no.
Yes, they did. They put a needle in his spine, and it caused for about a week he couldn't stand up straight because they injured him. And the reason he got injured because he'd been in and out of the hospital so much that just for a doctor to come in there with an IV pole, he knew what was going to happen, and they would strap him down.
Yeah.
And that just traumatized him more, and they would kick him out because hearing him scream would make me cry, and I'd want to punch all of them out because they were hurting my son.
Yeah.
So when he had his surgery, and his health just went a big 180. I mean, it was crazy. He went from this sickly child to a robust young boy. Even though he lost, he has that deficit, his health just went a 180. It was crazy the way he improved. And all because of adenoids that were blocking his airway. That's what was causing all his trouble.
Yeah, air is kind of important.
Yep. When you're an asthmatic and you can't breathe because your adenoids are blocking your airway and people aren't listening.
Very frustrating.
Yep, definitely. Vicky Bush says, I am trying to get help. Mom is a very mean person and the dementia has made it worse. I'm so burned out. Oh, I'm so sorry, Vicky. Cynthia says, I felt that way when my mom passed. She needed full-time care for 9 years. I should be thankful I only had to take care of my mom 8 months. But my mom didn't have dementia. She had a tumor on her brain, and so she was a handful because she'd been poisoned by my dad. So there was that. But when she couldn't speak, so there was less of the nastiness coming from her mouth while I was taking care of her.
Right.
She couldn't talk. So so in the end I'm sure she was very appreciative because it was me and my daughters taking care of her. And for the most part, I didn't think she was all that hard to take care of. And then I have to say this about hospice. When they had a couple of women that would come over, and they would come over 3 or 4 times a week, and they would say, we're here to take care of your mom. We're going to wash her hair. We're going to pamper her and give her a foot massage and pedicure. And they were doing all this stuff to spoil my mom, and says, while we're spoiling your mom, go spoil yourself and go, leave, go do something. And so me and the girls would just take off and go, because I had stuff at home I had to take care of, and while I was gone, they were taking care of my mother, And when they first tried to start doing it, she was a little, because she's Miss Independent, didn't want any help. But in the end, she submitted to it and got where she was enjoying what they were doing. So they made it very pleasant for her, because she absolutely wasn't going to go to hospice and stay. She had put her foot down about that. She was staying home. And that's what she did. She passed away in her house, which makes
and my mom will too. My mom will.
It's better to be in your own surroundings. Cynthia says, I haven't gone. I'm enjoying listening while working. Fuzzy Adventure said something about they got over 100 followers yesterday on their channel. Congratulations.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Way to go.
Yeah, way to go. Vicky says, I am a nurse's assistant, but I can't do it now. I unfortunately had to bring her back home. Wow. I know that my when my daughter was taking care of her paternal grandfather, he was a handful. And I think right at the end he had a bit of dementia, I think, from what Lynn told me. And he just was very combative. I don't know how she managed all of that plus her job and a baby, but she did.
Well, you just do. You never know how you're doing it till you're through it, and then you just kind of go, "Wow, how did I do it?" Um, so, Katie, do you remember a friend named Belle?
Where do they live at?
Ocala
I don't know. Maybe.
had a house with a pool. Her nickname is Belle. Her real name is Sheila.
I may not have ever gone to her house when we were getting together like we were. I'm not sure that I went to anyone's house in Ocala. I seem to recall going to someone else's house, but I want to say that might have been Ocala for all I know. I don't remember.
Do you remember Kane?
Mm,
They were a couple.
maybe.
Well,
That one person's house I went to, there was a bunch of us there, but I don't remember y'all being there at that particular house.
Well, anyway, Kane passed a few years back. He's been gone a while. They never lived together. They just were a couple,
Yeah.
And anyway, she has very aggressive cancer, and she has a
Aw.
she has a GoFundMe for her cremation. And of course, I made a donation, and I've been messaging her and chatting with her, and it's sad because she has no family. Yeah.
I heard. Go ahead.
No, it's just sad.
Yep. Me and Nikolaj have been talking a little bit about this kind of stuff because I told him, I want to be cremated. I don't want to be up there in that cemetery. I just don't. But Nuke is getting themselves a crematorium finally. So that means
Wow.
that if I pass away here, I can be sent up there to have that done. And then he can
Yeah.
meet with the kids and take my ashes to the ocean. Because that's what I want him to do. I don't want no funeral, no nothing. I want them to take me to the ocean and then go celebrate afterwards. That's what I want. No, big production. Because I think that's just my thing. I would tell him to bury my ashes underneath our bushes, but that just seems weird.
I had a friend who buried her brother and planted a tree on top of him.
Yeah, see, that would be me because of me being the gardener that I am.
Right.
If I told them that, they would probably not even be surprised I said something like that, but they'd also probably think, Mom, that's a little creepy. Oh
Well,
my
I
God.
saw a thing where Bill does not want to be cremated. He wants to be buried in
Mhm.
a national cemetery. He'd
Well,
like to be buried in Arlington, and I refused to let him go there. Actually, right now he couldn't because, he didn't die active duty. He's not dead. But, and right now they're so crammed for space there that they're only letting people who die in service be buried there right now. But anyway, so he'll be buried probably in the National Cemetery in Tallahassee, and then I'll be with him. But I'm going to be cremated. But I wanted to be put in a concrete artificial reef, and then they put a little brass plaque with your name and your birth date and your death date, so that if divers dive down to the artificial reef where fishermen, can fish.
cool,
Um,
Myra.
yeah, isn't that neat? And I was literally born across the street from the Gulf of Mexico in Port St. Joe, Florida. I mean, literally the Gulf of Mexico. Mother could see it from her maternity room window. And I always thought I would be just buried straight out from there. You know, I'd be made into an artificial reef and just sunk. But we don't have any divers in our family, and we really don't have a lot of fishermen that fish in that area. So I've decided he can just put my ashes, in with him. So it's fine.
We put
Oh, yeah.
Hardy's ashes in they had a in Dineen, they have an internment wall in that national cemetery there, and
Yeah.
the internment wall is really nice actually. When they showed it to me, I'm like, wow,
Yes.
the kids can find him easily if they ever. I don't know that any of them's been there since we've done that, but um, I thought that was the best thing to do was put him there.
Yeah.
You know.
My uncle is in Barrancas outside Pensacola. He's retired Navy. He died of Agent Orange 40 years after Vietnam. But anyway, he was in country in Vietnam 3 different times, and it was bad. His body was just bad at the end. But he's in Barrancas, and the thing is, they have an interment wall like that for people who are cremated, but Bobby opted to be actually in the cemetery, and his headstone looks like it's a full it's a casket sized burial plot, but it's just what we actually put in the ground was this little, like 1.5 by 1.5 square box, or 2 foot by
Yeah.
1.5 rectangular box in the ground. But he's got the full size grave site with the regular headstone because that's what he wanted.
It
So,
amazed me this how small the little box is. It's like, wow, this human being went in this. It really boggles your mind a little bit when you see it.
well, we released my uncle, who was a merchant marine. We released him into the Gulf of Mexico, and it was amazing to me when we opened the box how small the container of ashes
Yeah,
really, you know, because my uncle was not a tiny man. He was almost 6 foot tall. But yeah.
so Cynthia says, I loved the hospice people we used with my mom. They were so good to her. My mom passed at home. We were glad we could keep her at home and at the very end. And then Robin says, I took
Hey,
care of my grandma
Robin.
4 years. She could get nasty, paralyzed on the right side from a stroke. And then Robin says, I had a oh my, I made it moment. And then Cynthia says, Mom didn't want anything, but we defied her. We only had family there up through her first cousins was told about her service. It was a graveside, so not a big event. And then Robin says, I want to be spread in the mountains in Binghamton. And I bet I just butchered that real good. My kids said they would put me in the rest in the res. I don't know what that means. I told them I want to be plant food, not fish food.
Oh, in the reservation or in the reservoir? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not seeing any of the chat. So
Yeah,
I'm sorry for those of you that I haven't said hello to. Hello. I'm really okay. I feel so
I can
numb
tell.
and down. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry because I'm usually not like this, but I did get a new toy that I'm really excited about. Can you
Oh,
all see
you a
it?
new cutting board.
Yeah, it's a little one. It's 13 by 13 and it rotates.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's from Calibri Art. I've never heard of them and I don't really care. It just rotates and it's going to go in the camper with me.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about it. I don't need, I have two big, huge ones. And then I have a small one that's like I don't know, maybe 8 inches across, but it's like 14 or 16 long. It's very awkward. It's rectangle. So I just thought this little square one would do just fine.
That's great. Let's talk about
So
that poll. Let's talk about the poll I posted. So the question was, have you participated in either of these sew-alongs? Option 1 was Moda Blockheads, and option 2 was Socialites. And for those of you that don't know what Socialites is, every year but this past year, I think maybe the last 2 years, maybe even, I don't know how much time has gone past between Socialites 2 and what's going to start in February as Socialites 3. But it's from Fat Quarter Shop, Kimberly's sew along. It's a free sew along that will go. How many months is it? It's going to go from February to either August or September, I think. I'm not sure. I have to go look it up. And it's similar to doing Moda Blockhead blocks. But Kimberly makes it so that you can use FPP from time, like if you want to do, if there's a lot of half square triangles in a block, you can use half square triangle. And I have lots of rolls of different sizes of this. Or if you're doing a square and a square, she has, or an economy block, she has pieces, paper piecing. And so when you have the directions here of what to cut in a regular way, down below that section will also say, if you would rather do it using FPP, this is the size PA. She gives you the name of the paper and the size you need, and you can do it that way if you want to.
wow.
So pretty cool. So anyway, 24% said this is out of 46 votes. 24% said they've done Moda Blockheads. 15% said they've done Socialites. A whopping 61% have not done either one of them. But I love freebies. One thing about this is I'm going to probably do Socialites as a channel sew along because it's free, and you know, I have something to say to all of y'all that are watching. When I first started doing blocks from this here book, I didn't know if anyone was going to do these blocks. And now we started in February, and we just finished block number 9. And I want to tell you guys how much I appreciate so many of you. I started out with one person doing a block. Now I think there might be 4 or 5 doing a block. People are buying the book and they're going to try to catch up with us. I really appreciate it because this has been fun for me, because I have always talked about how, you know, I still consider myself to be a beginner quilter. And doing these blocks really help promote your skill set, because this book, you know, they give you measurements, but it doesn't spoil you like if you did a Kimberly Fat Quarter Shop pattern. You know, Kimberly spoils you with her instructions. She tells you what to cut, or she also incorporates the use of FPP in there if you want to do that, and she takes you step by step by step. So you basically, there's no way a beginner could not follow those types of instructions. But you can also be a beginner, believe it or not, and do this the hard way. You got the measurements and you got the picture, because I'm a virtual or visual learner. And by looking at the picture and by the measurements, you're actually not only learning how to measure, cut, but you're also learning how to look at a picture and put something together. And that helps, I think, promote not only better sewing skills, but it also helps promote you understanding how blocks go together. So if you want to become a pattern designer or a quilt designer, knowing how to do this way helps with that. So yeah, I know I'm on a little rant about that, but thank you all that have been doing this. I really appreciate it. My Rama says excellent, Myra, and she says Cynthia says I want one that rotates like yours, Myra. And then she said, yeah, I have a little one. Oh, and no, actually, I have two of them. I have this one. This is what I have.
That's cool.
This is a Martelli, and it came with the cutting. I have put away the ironing part of it because it triggers my asthma. And I did call Martelli and talk. I think it was John I talked to. I told him what was going on, and he was glad of the feedback. He's because at first he thought I wanted him to replace it. I said, no, that's not why I'm calling you. I'm calling you to let you know that because when that wood heats up, because there's not enough protection between that piece of fabric and that really thin layer of whatever that is they use, when it heats up that wood, it's triggered my asthma, which means I'm inhaling some kind of secondary thing in the air, and he wasn't aware of that. So, and I told him, I said, I think that you should know this so that you can figure out, what you could maybe do to prevent that from happening to other people. I told him, and we talked a while about that, and I told him that what I was planning on doing was buying some Insulbright, and I was going to take Insulbright, a thin layer of like a bamboo batting and a cotton batting, and I was going to like layer them and put them in between that fabric layer and that wood layer and fix it, and maybe even put fabric, some kind of fabric in between the wood and the batting part of it, or the Insulbright, and see if that doesn't slow what comes through there. It may not fix anything. It might just be the wood is the wrong kind of wood to be using for that. But the wood that they used, it was supposed to be a reason for the wood they used is because it doesn't move on the Lazy Susan here. So it could be that the whatever the wood part of it was manufactured from, maybe that's what created the problem that triggered my asthma. I mean, it's really hard to say what it was. But I like this one too, but it's like really big.
Yeah, this is just, like I said, this is 13 by 13, and on the back it's got this back is kind of like grippy material,
Yeah.
and then this little round thing is what turns. And I don't know, I think I'm gonna like it because what I realized is when I'm doing this, hi darling,
Hey, girl.
love
It looks
you.
like this little one.
Yeah, that's what mine is like. I bet it's the same brand.
This one is Kimberly Cuts. So this is by the factory shop. This came in a So Sampler box actually.
Oh, okay. Well, this is Calibri art. So, or Calibre, I don't know.
But
But
look how it's all abused now.
oh,
Yeah. I think that might be fabric thread or something in there. I don't know.
well, you need to just run your lint brush over it a few times and try, pressing down, pull it out, but not brush, but thing. But when I was doing that economy block, of course, I'm still at the very beginning of that, just putting the first four triangles on,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to square it up after you've put all four triangles on. You have to square it up. And so I was picking up and turning at my Tuesday Quilted Twins sewing room quilting time or sewing time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to be doing a lot of trimming because there's 72 and 72, 144 triangles to trim, each time you sew them on.
Yeah.
So that's, and then then you have to square up all the squares once you get the 36 squares. So, yeah. So I thought, you know what? This would probably help me.
Yeah, definitely.
So, well,
If I was doing
who knows?
144 half square triangles, I'd be using paper.
Well, what I did is when I went to the Quilted Twins sewing room, I have an Acu quilt or whatever it's called. I have one of those Acu cutters from my dad, but
Yeah.
I didn't have the 5.5-inch strip or square or triangles. So I knew they had a 5.5 strip cutter there at the store. So I paid my $8 for my 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock sewing time. And I went in and I cut all my strips, and there were like 9 other ladies or 10 and one gentleman in the room. And so by being with them, I wasn't so scared to cut. So I cut those strips into 5.5 squares, and then those squares into 2 triangles. So I got all my reds cut out during that day, and it was a lot easier for me to do it there with them around. I know that sounds crazy,
No.
but for those that are in the chat that I can't see and that may not know me, I have a real anxiety about cutting fabric.
I don't think you're the only one on that one.
So if I ever get all my projects done, if I ever do, then Bill doesn't know it, but he's going to be spending big bucks to buy me quilt, what are they called? Kits that
It's,
where all I have to do is sew it. I mean, I know I'll always have some little snip here, there, trim, whatever, but yeah. And the sizes that I want are not cheap. So
yep.
bless his heart.
I bet it's been good being back home again.
Well, it has, but I'm leaving Saturday morning to go to Alabama for 2 weeks to take care of his brother and his mother, because his brother's having surgery.
I forgot about
So yeah, so this isn't really a month-long rest, but I'm getting a day here, a day there, and
well, at least you'll be with Bill while that's going on.
well, that's true. We will definitely be together. And like right now, he's down in St. Pete and I'm here at the house because I
Oh,
didn't want to sit for 10 hours in the camper.
I don't blame you there.
So, I mean,
home is
you know,
definitely.
we're not newlyweds. It's okay for us to, you know.
Yep. 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 Well, Cynthia says she's leaving. I have to go in about the next 5 minutes. I say bye now and sneak out when necessary. Have a good night. And I am going to get off of here because someone's going to be up my behind if I don't.
Go have a great time. Enjoy yourself.
Will, and Myra, if you happen to be at home tomorrow, look at my around between 1 to 2:30, which would be 12, 11, 9:30 your time.
In the morning.
Yeah, in the morning, because I'm 3 hours ahead of you. Because we're meeting,
Right.
we'll be at the harbor at 1 o'clock, a little before 1 o'clock. And I'm not sure what exact time we're sailing, but it'll be between 1 and 2 our time. And I'll go live while we're sailing out, and I'll stay alive as long as I have cell connection.
Okay, when you hear how Ava's doing, give me a heads up if you remember. But if you don't, it doesn't matter. God will know.
Yeah, I will definitely let you know how the surgery went.
Oh, look at that, y'all.
That's right here, right now.
Oh,
The sun is still above the horizon. Yeah, we won't have a sunset until another hour. Yeah.
so that'll be around midnight?
Around 11:40 something.
Yeah.
Because we're up to 18 hours and something.
Yeah.
18 hours and 47 minutes, something like that.
Okay, well.
at 4:30 in the morning.
Well, y'all just enjoy and tell your friend I can't wait to meet them.
Okay, yeah, you'll like them. They're really cool.
It'll it'll be a while, but
Yep,
if the creek don't rise and the Lord don't take me,
yep.
it's going to happen.
Torben's
So,
a lot similar to Nikolaj. He's been fishing his whole life too. He actually owns a shipping company.
Yeah,
And
both.
Ellie is from Thailand, and so she's a Thai person, and she's adapted to the Arctic weather too. But they also built a house in Thailand, so they spend a certain amount of time in Thailand and a certain amount of time here now. But
well,
when she
that's
first,
nice. I wish
yeah,
you guys could go to Thailand and
oh,
see it.
we can. We've been invited. It's just us getting on a plane and getting there. We just haven't done it yet. I think probably in the not so distant future we're going to make plans to do that because we've already been invited to do that. We just haven't done
That
it.
would be so nice. My children's paternal grandfather, after their paternal grandmother died, about 5 years later, he married a much younger woman from Thailand, and just the sweetest woman. Sweet, sweet, sweet spirit. All right,
Yes.
y'all have a great trip. I love you. I'm gonna leave. Robin, whoever else. Bye, y'all.
Yep. See you later. Y'all remember to
Yeah.
live, laugh, love, and dream. And what do you do with all that? You make something beautiful. Love you guys and have a great night.
Bye, everybody.
See you tomorrow. Y'all look for that live tomorrow too, okay?
Yeah.
You don't know why.
Just stop.